Let's get it. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. If you want to lose weight and you keep eating the way you've been eating, you keep not going to the gym the way you keep not going to the gym and you just sit on the couch, you're not going to lose weight. You want to get a better job, you don't ever put any applications in, you're going to keep working when you're working. If you're in a relationship and every time something happens, you talk about it, you cry about it, you're upset about it, you're mad about it, but the bigger question is what you're going to do about it. This is where we are when we watch Sister Wives. We see Janelle confronting Cody and asking and demanding that the relationship parameters that they've negotiated before be redefined. She wants a renegotiation on her relationship, which is only fair. Because as much as we like to say that, oh, this is what you agreed to when we first got together, the truth of the matter is that as you get older, as you grow, as you experience things, you're going to change, your opinion's going to change, and more importantly, your needs are going to change. The things that you need when you're in your 20s, maybe you don't need somebody to call and check on you when you're 23, 24, and you're going out to the club with your friends and you hanging out in bars and still acting wild and reckless. Maybe you don't want a man or a woman following behind you asking you, hey, what you up to this weekend? Girl, I got stuff to do. Stop bothering me, right? But when you start to get older, you develop a family. That's a change. When you're buying a house, you have a house together. You have a home together. You're married. And then all of a sudden she's calling to ask where you are. That's not intrusion on your privacy. That's called being in a relationship because the situation has changed. And so therefore, to some degree, the parameters of your relationship have changed. This is what happened with Cody and Janelle. She got tired of being in a situation where she feels vulnerable, and she finally realizes, it took a little while, but she realized how vulnerable she actually is in this particular relationship. Now, I want to be very clear. On this channel, I don't like to put people down and make people feel bad for their life decisions. I just merely want to point out how we can make different choices or maybe make an informed choice when we make these decisions. Now, when I look at Janelle, do I say that Janelle was stupid? One of the most heartbreaking things that I've ever heard her say was that she felt stupid for the decisions that she made. The truth of the matter is this simply. If I could talk directly to Janelle, I would say, look, what you did wasn't stupid. You're a good person who was taken advantage of by a person who did not have your best interest at heart. Simply put, if you look at the sacrifices that Janelle was making for the family, towards the family, for the big picture, Janelle was doing everything she should have been doing. She was doing exactly the right thing. She was making exactly the right choices. If you want to build a house and you guys don't have a shit ton of money, you're not sitting there like Bill Gates crapping money or Jeff Bezos, just money coming in everywhere. Elon Musk, you're not living that lifestyle. You're basically living with people who have champagne tastes on a beer budget, right? If you realize that this is the case and you want to have bigger things, you might have to forego having things. How many people out there, because you want to have a nice vacation, maybe you start packing your lunch instead of going out to lunch every day? If you want to buy a house, you might do the same thing. Maybe you want to tighten up instead of you getting that, top of the line this or top of the line that. Stop going shopping at this expensive store wearing tags and popping tags all the time. You're saving your clothes, you're saving your money, you're putting money aside, you're not doing your expenses because you have bigger objectives that you want to achieve. That's what Janelle was doing for the family. She was denying herself, and by her denying herself, she was also denying her kids financial assistance. And we can sit here and pretend that, I can't believe you only worried about the money. The money don't mean nothing. Yeah, that's what young people say. But I got to tell you, when you're sitting down when you're looking at the point of your life where you have a whole lot of life ahead of you, then you don't worry about things necessarily like money and security. But as you start to realize that your working years, there's more working years behind you than in front of you, and your ability to make and maintain a lifestyle that you want to have for yourself in your retirement and in your twilight years when you should be enjoying your grandkids and not having a punch a clock, you start to realize that, that money is important. Having things is important. And before we get into it, I would simply ask that if you guys are getting anything from my content, that you consider giving me that thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithm, and it helps me know, more importantly, that you guys are digging what I'm doing. So give me that thumbs up. And if you are watching my content and you're not yet subscribed, what are you doing? It's easy to do. Plus, it's fun. And guess what, y'all? It's free. Free. Favorite four-letter F word, or at least one of them. So you can hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel out. It helps me out. And hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? So give me that HBO special, which stands for Help a Brother Out Special, by clicking that subscribe button, ringing the bell for notifications, and you will be notified when I upload content just like this. Now, as I'm talking about her redefining her relationship, I think it takes a lot of courage for somebody to recognize that they need a change and then proactively try to change something about their lives. Takes a lot of courage. It can be very scary, but it is one of the most rewarding things you can do for yourself. Why? Because although change is uncomfortable, comfortability oftentimes leads to you settling, and oftentimes leads to you getting much less than what you actually deserve, and far less than what you settled for. So in this particular case, yeah, Janelle could continue going on in her relationship the way it has been going with Cody, but she's not going to get any more from Cody. If anything, she's going to start getting less and less and less from Cody as the time moves on. Because like most situations, not only will he continue to absorb the things that she gives him, but he will expand more, he will demand more, and she will have to give more in order for the relationship to be maintained. Now let's listen to Janelle as she presents the idea of redefining this marriage and Cody's response when she does it.
We need a redefinition. I still am not 100% sure we can save it.
Really?
No.
You don't think it's just going to be
No, because sometimes I'm really angry still. I don't know.
Now when she said we need a redefinition, that didn't shake him. When she said she didn't know if she can continue doing this, that's when he's like, I can't believe this. Because this is what we always do. And that's part of the problem, is that this becomes normalized. People can easily normalize the mistreatment or them taking advantage of a situation or taking advantage of your sacrifice. And this isn't just for the polygamist or just for Janelle's situation or Cody's situation. This also happens every day with romantic relationships and monogamous relationships, as well as in friendships, familial relationships, or even professionally at your job. How many people have worked a job where you stay late or you come in early, you're missing birthdays, holidays, graduations, all kinds of sacrifices that you make so that you can come in and help the boss out or, be a good employee, only to have maybe a managerial position or a promotion up and the person tell you that you're not ready yet. No, I don't see a commitment from you. I don't see the necessary skills, even though you're doing the job already. You just want the title that goes with the job and the money that goes with the job. All of a sudden, you're not ready to do the job, even though you've been doing the job for the last 2 years. But when it officially becomes a posting that you can get the job and actually get the official title, all of a sudden, now you're not doing a good enough job and you need to learn some things. Or when you go in and ask for a raise. Hey guys, you think, because I come in on my days off and I'm doing 3-4 other people's jobs, you think you might be able to hook me up with a couple more, 50 Cent and not just the rapper? Maybe you can hook a player up, give me that HBO special, and the boss look at you like you crazy. Like you just came in there and asked him to get naked or open up the safe. All of a sudden it's a problem. I can't believe you would even come in here and ask me that. I don't see the commitment that you have and the dedication you have for the job. Meanwhile, the guy who shifts your covering, the guy whose work you're doing, or the young lady who isn't doing her work or completing her stuff and is putting your team behind, she's getting raises every 2 weeks. I've had that at jobs. I had a job where a guy started after me. I trained him. He come in. I would finish my work. I would go over, help him do his work, get his work off of him, do his work too. Then he would go to the boss, sit there and cuddle up with the boss every 2 weeks or so and talk to him. Hey, man, you think you be able to give me a little bit more money, man? I can't really be doing this on this money y'all giving me. And the boss would give him a raise. And before long, this dude was making almost as much as I was, and I'd already been there for like 3 years. I go to the boss and say, hey, you think I can get a raise? I didn't even say anything about the other guy. I don't do that. I say, hey, you think, with all the level of work I'm doing, the amount of time I'm putting in, the commitment that I have to this place, do you think I could, maybe we should talk about giving me a little bit more money? I don't know if that's really in the budget, James. What? I know for a fact you're giving this lazy ass money. Every time he look at you, you're throwing him money. I come to you as a person who's been dedicated and committed to this place, and you can't give me no money? Needless to say, James had to go ahead and renegotiate that contract and get my ass up out of there. But that's what you have to do sometimes. You have to look at your situation and where you are and make decisions on where you are. You have to understand that every relationship you're going to be in is going to undergo negotiation after negotiation because you're going to change. You're not going to be the same person you are today as the same person you were 15 years ago. It's just not going to happen. These two, by this time, I think had already been married almost 30 years. So the relationship and the agreements that they had when they first got together are null and freaking void. They no longer exist because those people no longer exist. They're two different people sitting at that table in that Mexican restaurant. And by the way, did anybody ever notice that they keep going to the same restaurant, which I can understand production side. You go to the same restaurant because you have an agreement with that place that they allow filming and they have a little room or whatever for you to do the filming. Fine, okay, I get that. But every time Cody shows up there, it's not like it's the first time he's been there. He'll be having these conversations with these ladies. He gets like a plate of food and he starts eating the food and they're trying to talk to him and he's like, okay, like he's starving. He never had the food before. Oh wow, this is delicious. This is amazing. You can't wait 5 minutes, bro. He's like a little kid. I don't know. I don't want to get into personal attacks, but that's one of the things that I would say. Is that the importance of it is for Janelle to feel the comfort in being able to sit down and have a conversation with him and renegotiate their relationship as she needs it to be done. Now, let's take a look at how Cody sees her approach. Because he doesn't take it as, oh, we need to renegotiate this relationship because obviously Janelle isn't getting what she needs. And I've learned from my current divorce with Christine that I need to start paying attention to my wives. And when they tell me that they aren't getting things that they need, I need to start listening to them and start providing them the things that they need. That's not what happened. Let's listen to what Cody had to say.
The punishment seems way beyond the crime. Maybe that's just a wake-up call for me. Maybe she's not interested in this at all. Maybe she's got what she needed and she's moving on.
Maybe she's got what she needed and she's moving on. There's an idea that Cody has that somehow he's a big shot. Like Cody has this feeling of grandeur where he thinks that he's like this big shot, that these women are just attracted to him because he was winning. Like, quiet as this kept. And here's a little sister wife trivia that a lot of people don't know. When Mary and Cody were first married and they were dealing with Janelle, there was a point where they moved in with Janelle and Janelle was their landlord. This is before Janelle and Cody got married and before they were romantically interested in one another. They rented from Janelle. They rented a room from Janelle in her house. How the hell is Janelle trying to gold dig you and you're living under her roof? What are you talking about? Like, you weren't always on TV. And that's the most ridiculous part of this whole situation. Cody is acting like these women he's providing all this to these women and they're using him. And that's the twisted part of being in a relationship with this type of person. It's toxic. And it's not, again, it's not just for polygamy. And it's not just in this instance of sister wives. This could be any relationship where you're dealing with people. You have to recognize the people that you're dealing with, because you are firmly rooted in reality, hopefully. You see what's going on. Up is up, down is down, left is left, right is right. But when you're dealing with people like Cody, all of a sudden you're in a fantasy world where unicorns exist and they riding on rainbows. And you don't know where to start talking to them, because you're operating, you at least have to be able to come to an understanding of fact. This is what the relationship was. This is where the relationship needs to go. If you can't even agree that Cody is not providing for you 100% and you're providing for yourself, and not only are you providing for yourself as Janelle, but you're providing for the family and you're giving substantially to the family, and Cody thinks in his mind, no, I'm doing this all by myself, then you guys have to get together and at least come to an understanding of basic facts. And that's not where Cody is. There is also a point where when we talk about the things that Janelle needs, Janelle lets Cody know what her vulnerability is. Let's listen to Janelle first talk about what her vulnerability is and where she is in this relationship and why there is a problem in the relationship.
It's like, have I always just been a resource for you?
I'm completely vulnerable. If I decide to leave Cody, I have nothing.
If I can't provide everything, I'm not of value?
Oh, I know. It's wild. It is wild, the disconnect here.
And this is the part I'm talking about. There's a couple things that I want to point out. First thing, when you listen to Cody talk, and that's why I cut it the way I did. When you listen to him talk, that's a manosphere talking point. When he talks about you being used for his resources, that's a key term that appears in the Red Pill and Manosphere segment of YouTube in the Manosphere verse or whatever the hell it is. That's one of the things that they talk about. When you hear them talk about, oh, women come in and they try to use you for your resources, they try to basically use you for your stuff, because essentially all women are gold diggers, and that's the one driver that they have. Their assessment of relationships is so fictitious, fraudulent, and ruh-roh almost. It's just wrong. There's a lot of fallacies that are underlying in the precepts of what that belief system is. The belief system works really for kids who are probably in high school or really middle school, when you really don't understand women and how relationships work. Because in reality, like I said before, Janelle and these other ladies, the OG3 specifically, worked shoulder to shoulder with Cody. And when he was coming up, they all had jobs and they all contributed to the family financially. They weren't using him for his resources. When Robin came into the family, they were given the opportunity to be on TLC. Once TLC came in, that came in with a significant amount of money. They had a huge bump to their pay. But that, again, wasn't Cody. Cody wasn't the only one showing up to set, filming all day, 15, 16 hours a day on set, and then coming home to Robin, Christine, Mary, and Janelle and handing them his paycheck. These ladies are his co-workers. They too are contributing to the show. They're making money from the show, and they're giving that money to the family. And so for Cody to sit there and pretend that, oh, I'm giving them these resources and she's using me for my resources is absurd. It's an absurd position. The second thing, when Janelle talks about this, she's talking about her vulnerability. This is part of the reason why. Not too long ago in the last season, one of my fellow YouTubers kind of got into some trouble. I don't want to embarrass him by hollering his name out, but he kind of got into some hot water because he made the assertion during the time when Mary, Janelle, and Cody and Robin were sitting at Mary's house talking about the presentation of Janelle and how she's going to build her house and, you know, trying to do that whole presentation. All of a sudden, she's cut off by Cody and Robin, and she's asked questions about her loyalty to the family. She's asked about let's talk crap about Christine and Christine leaving, blah, 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 blase, blah. And Janelle gets tired of it. She's ready to walk away. And the YouTuber made the observation that, oh, you know, this is them trying to have a conversation. They need to talk. They need to have communication. I agree that they need to have communication. However, I don't think when someone is talking about the things that they need versus Cody and Robin talking about their feelings, those two conversations in the list of priorities needs always go on top. If she needs a place to stay because she doesn't know where she's going to house herself and she's insecure about where she's going to house her children, that will impact the family far more than Cody's feelings being hurt because Christine all of a sudden wants to take her ball and go home. And that's where we see this. This is going to be a source of problems for this family no matter how they move forward. So when Janelle sits down and says, we need to redefine our relationship, essentially what she's saying, if you tear it all down, is that she wants to find a position where she can feel the same security as all the other members of the family. Right now, Robin feels secure in her home because irregardless of whether she has an $800,000 home that she bought and then now the house is worth over $1 million, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and the bank and the loans and and maybe she can't afford it if TLC stops giving her a check and if the sister wives leaves, when push comes down to shove, guess what, y'all? If the wives leave and TLC stop writing them a check, she could sell that house and she'll still walk away with, if she hasn't taken out too many loans against it already as far as equity, she could still walk away with at least $500,000 to $600,000 if she put no money down on the purchase, which is unlikely. So she is doing okay. She's doing okay. And we have to take that into account. And all Janelle wants to do is to feel like she's doing okay. Now, of course, we could make the argument that this is just something that Janelle had said on the couch and she didn't present it to Cody. Let's listen to Janelle when she presents it to Cody and how Cody takes it when she presents it to him.
Okay, I'm just saying, I don't really, because like when you first left, I thought, crap, I don't have anything. I don't have anything in my name. I don't have anything.
This sounds like it's about money for Janelle.
She revealed her vulnerability. She's realizing that all the years that she's been sacrificing, all the money that she's taken from her 401k, again, a little tidbit of sister wife trivia that a lot of people may not know and for the uninitiated. Janelle took her 401k and used her 401k, cashed it out, and used that 401k for a couple purposes. First, it was to help sustain the family as they moved from Utah to Las Vegas. Secondly, she used that 401k, her retirement money, to help Robin pay off her loans so that she could qualify for the house that she eventually had built and she purchased in Las Vegas. Did Janelle get any of that money back? No. So when she sits there and says, I feel vulnerable, I feel like I've given all my savings, all my income to the family, and I'm looking at what I have nothing. So if I choose to walk out this door today and I no longer want to participate in this, I have nothing. I am trapped. Now, when somebody feels trapped, they feel financially insecure, and they're scared, that person is miserable. And by human nature, people will get scared and they can live in fear for a little while, but eventually that fear turns to anger. And as they're sitting there mad, that can cause problems in a relationship as well. That can cause issues. So they're never going to be able to resolve a lot of these problems until you can put a lot of her fears to rest and you can start giving her some assurances by renegotiating your relationship, by redefining how you treat each other and what the expectation is. The expectation is I'm going to stop, from Janelle's perspective, I'm going to stop giving everything I have to the family, and I want some return on my investments as far as what I've given to the family. And of course, Cody has a position that everything is his. Now, this is directly contradictory to the earlier episodes of the polygamy propaganda program that featured on TLC called Sister Wives, where there was a discussion at UNLV where they were talking about polygamy. And there were some people who were formerly part of the polygamous families, the AUB, the fundamentalist groups, the FLDS, and there was somebody else who got conned, and then there was somebody else who belonged to one of the other groups, Mary's family's group or whatever. No, I don't think she's married. I think they know each other. They're from the same town. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But as they were having that discussion, the thing that came out was one of the ladies in the audience stood up and asked a question to the ladies, just a common sense question. Do you guys feel like you could walk out and leave? And how would you provide for the kids? And this is what they had to say. Now, I know a lot of us look at it and say, oh, Janelle could just run the court and she could just take some of the tapes from TLC and some of the previous episodes and use those to establish her claim in court. The problem is that you have an episode like this that can be used to the contrary. Let's take a listen.
Cody, the way you increase your tone of voice, the way the 4 women around you look at you for permission. For me as a woman, I have a question. Do you have the
Sniggling and giggling
wherewithal to take the money out to take care of your children if you had to escape from Cody, or does he have to give you permission?
And I make my own paycheck and I have my own bank account. I don't share with Cody.
That hurts. That hurts the case. I have my own bank account. I have my own money. I don't share with Cody. That hurts the case. Now, I understand that there's some things that we can argue that, she took 401k money out, blah, 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 blah. The funny thing about that is that when you start buying homes, one of the things that happens is that they check your, this is in the early mid-2000s where they didn't check. They had NINA, what they call NINA loans, no income, no asset verification loans, where they didn't care. Like, you could just put on a piece of paper, I'll make $1 million, and they would never ask for a paycheck or anything. I got $20 million in the bank, and they would never ask you for paperwork to support any of the claims that you made. And it caused a financial collapse when they did that because the banks were extremely reckless. But when you are sitting there saying that, I gave this money to Robin and Christine or Robin and Cody so that they can purchase these homes, the problem is that money would have to be classified as a gift. You would have to forego any legal right you would have to get that money back. If she used that, if in fact they did use the money even when they sold their homes in Las Vegas, which I have a video that I want to talk about why I think a lot of those houses got sold in Las Vegas. So hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notification. You'll see that video because I'm going to drop that probably in a week or two. It's crazy. But when you look at the them selling the houses in Vegas, if Robin or Janelle sells her house in Vegas and she gives that money to Robin and she gives that money to Christine, she has to say, I gave that money to them. It was a gift. I gifted them that money. It can't be a loan because banks like to be in the first position, in the first loan position on any loan that they give you, any mortgage that they give you. They never want to be in position 2. Position 2 would be if I give you a loan for your down payment for the house and the bank gives you a mortgage on the, for the rest of the purchase property of the home, then if you ever default, when you sell the house, I'm in position 1 to be able to get my money back from that loan. And the banks just don't like that. Like they don't even want to deal with that as a problem. So if even in the song and dance of it, they rather have a document that you would fill out and include in your mortgage application that says that any money that you received somebody else was a gift. At least that's been my experience. We can leave a take down below if you believe something different, but that's been my experience. Now, when we talk about this whole issue, let's listen to what Christine had to say during that same meeting. Because I think it's kind of obvious. And obviously, since Cody likes to bring up Christine, let's bring up Christine. Hey, let's talk about it.
I understand your concern in wondering if we're free, because I'm sure from the stereotypes you've seen that you would wonder that. Cody actually said specifically, look, if you're not happy, I will give you money and you can leave. If that's what's holding you back is money, that means nothing. you get your freedom.
If what's holding you back is money, that's nothing. You get your freedom. And this is what Christine was saying. And if you could notice, if you want to run it back, you'll notice that there's a head bobbing. That's Cody's head bobbing saying, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the way I feel about it. I don't care about no money. Now, all of a sudden, when Janelle is talking about not having anything, oh, it's all about the money. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Now that when Janelle's talking about leaving, no, you can't take any money with you. And this is part of what I was saying as far as the renegotiation. This is how they felt when the relationship first started. When the relationship first was, about 20 years in at this point, I think in UNLV, they were about 20 years in or so, 20 plus. And the position was, while the relationship was going good, hey, yeah, if you want to go, I'm not holding nobody. Nobody's held hostage. You can leave if you want to leave. I don't care. You do what you got to do. In fact, I will pay you to leave. I'll give you money. I'll buy you a house and I'll take care of you. Blah, 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 blah. Now update the hate. You look at 2022, 2023, when we're talking about like season 17 and 18, now all of a sudden Cody's song has changed. Because he's redefining that relationship and he's redefining his position as far as how he sees the assets. Let's take a listen to his position to Christine. Now, we'll listen to Christine first because I like to get her perspective since she was the last person to talk. Let's get Christine's perspective on her home in Arizona and who actually should own it, who owns it, and who should get the benefit from the sale of that home and the proceeds from the sale of that home.
Right now, my name is the only name on this house. A lot of polygamous women don't have assets in their name. Like if we only had the property and I didn't have this house, I would have nothing in my name.
And that's a consistent theme. I would have nothing in my name. Janelle, a big proponent of the one house mantra. We should get one house and live in one house as a family. It'll be great. She's sitting there saying, I have nothing in my name. And the problem is that when you do have a situation like that, even up there at Coyote Pass, everybody's name is on all the different pieces of property. Nobody has a clean title on any of that property, meaning that it's going to cost a significant amount of money for them to be able to build on Coyote Pass, because not only are they talking about having to build a home on Coyote Pass, but they have to build the infrastructure so that they can make it a home. Otherwise, it's just a modern cave. If they don't run electricity through there or plumbing through there, then you have a cave. You have a nice cave. You know what I mean? But you have a cave. So they have to do all this extra work and they have to develop the property in order for them to build on the property, which is a whole thing where I have, like I said, I have a video coming out where I'm going to talk about a lot of that stuff. But with that being said, if Janelle just said, you know what, I'm going to sell my part of Coyote Pass to a developer who will come out and do the necessary work and they'll give me a pretty penny for it and I can go buy a home for me and my kids so that when I have birthdays or holidays or celebrations, they can all come down and stay at my home, in my house, she can't do it. Not without somebody else's permission. Not without asking for Cody's permission, not without asking for Robin's permission and her sign off, because she's part owner of every piece of property that Janelle's name appears on. The funny thing is that if Cody's name appears on that property, Robin's name appears on that property as well through Cody, via Cody. Unless she signs a post-nuptial agreement, there's no way that you can remove Robin from ownership of that property, her stake in ownership in that property. At least to my understanding. And I know people are going to say, well, according to the deed, unless, I don't think the deed supersedes her legal right as a wife. And this is part of the problem. When we talk about what Robin's power and influence is, as far as this is concerned, her assets are her assets. In fact, let's listen to Cody as he talks about the assets and how the house should be split up. Christine's house should be split up. We'll start there.
I assume that what we're doing is we're splitting all of our assets, the house, the land, everything we've got 50-50, which is funny because she's already sold off some of the stuff that was ours.
See, and all of a sudden, Cody is trying to take all of Christine's stuff and combine it into one. Why is he doing that? Because Christine came up with a very logical plan. You take Coyote Pass, because I don't want no parts of that. Everybody's name is mixed up on that foolishness. I'm going to take my house where I got my name on it. I keep my asset, you take Coyote Pass. Now, what Christine, and this is what's funny to me, Cody and the rest of these manosphere guys always try to look at these women like they gold diggers or trying to take advantage of somebody for their resources. Technically, if Christine wanted to be a true biatch, she could have came in and said, you know what I'm going to do? My name is on the house. That's my house. You can take me wherever court you want to take me to, because the loan that you guys gave me from the family, when you put your name on it, Cody, I gave you that money back, which is part of the reason why you took your damn name up off my house. You also had to sign a piece of paper saying that you didn't have that house. You didn't have ownership in that house, and you weren't responsible for the mortgage on that home any longer. So you have documentation to prove that you have no parts of that house. Now, as far as Coyote Pass is concerned, I am a part owner in Coyote Pass, and I'm going to keep my ownership on the pieces of land or parcel that I have my name on in Coyote Pass. There will be no subdivision, and I will hold on to my land up until the time we as a group decides to sell my piece of property, because that's the only way any of that land is going to be developed, is after I've sold it and got my part of the property out of it, got my ownership out of it. Unless, of course, you want to buy my piece of property. So Christine could have kept her property as far as her house, and she could have made Cody and the family buy Coyote Pass off of her, or be subject to the fact that they can't develop, whether stick or stone, whether cistern, whatever the case may be. Any development on that property has to be okayed by her, and she just has to block them. No, I'm not. I don't agree with it. No, I don't think so. Not on my part. And Cody would lose his mind, because unfortunately for Cody, her part of the land is, her part of the property was a place where the pond was, the feature of the property. So she had him. Now let's listen to what part of this discussion. There was the whole question of what part of the assets should be divided, and he said that he wanted half of Christine's assets. Christine was like, no, if that's the case, we're going to divide all of Cody's assets. Let's listen to what Cody's response is.
Christine and I are only sharing mine and Christine's shared assets 50-50. She doesn't have any access to the rest of the wives, their assets, or even my assets that are shared with the rest of the wives.
By doing that, Cody gets the claim broke, because now he's only sharing in, and they're only splitting Christine's stuff. That's what they're splitting. They're not splitting the stuff that he has with Robin, the stuff that he has with Mary, or the stuff he has with Janelle, because he's not even worried about that, because even according to Janelle, she doesn't have anything. Mary, he doesn't have any say in anything that happens as far as Lizzie's Inn. Mary was smart, because she bought Lizzie's Inn in her name, and she's renting her place in Arizona. So she technically doesn't have any assets with Cody either. The only asset that I'm aware of that Mary still has with Cody would be her segment of the land up there on Coyote Pass. And on that piece of property, that's the piece of property right next to Christine's, that big piece where Janelle was going to build her house, appeared Janelle's name, Mary's name, and Cody, and through Cody, Robin, on that piece of property. That's all that Mary shares with Cody. So when Christine was talking about sharing Cody's assets, she was talking about Robin's stuff. And Cody made it clear that she has no place in sharing in any of Robin's assets. And for once, I kind of agree with him. Legally, Christine would have no claim on anything that Robin has, because that, even though it's part of Cody's marital assets with Robin, Robin is the only legal wife. She's the only one who could go back and hit Cody for every piece of property that his name appears on. This includes property where Janelle's name is. Like, for instance, there was some talk that Cody and Robin were having some marital difficulties, and that Robin had thrown around the D word, divorce word, and she was talking about taking Cody to the cleaners. This puts Janelle in a very fragile state, because even though she paid off the land on Coyote Pass, if Cody's name appears on the pieces of property that Janelle has paid off, then Robin can sue him for his portion or share in those properties, and she can split it. So if she gets half of Cody's assets, we'll say Robin keeps the house and she gets half of Cody's remaining assets. The only assets he has left are the pieces of property up there on Cody Pass. She gets half of his share of those assets, meaning that they can't build stick nor stone. The same thing Christine could have did to blackmail the family as far as Cody Pass is concerned. Robin can do the same thing. And that's one of the complications and problems I have. That's the biggest problem I have with polygamy, to be honest with you. It's not the fact that, everybody is married and everybody's jumping in and out of bed. I could care less about that stuff. They define the problems that monogamists have with polygamy as being that. My issue with polygamy is the fact that there are no protections for the ladies who are involved in these marriages and as the second and third wife, the non-legal wife. They don't have any protections. They have a false sense of security because, like we talked about in the UNLV presentation, they're told that if you get divorced, I'm going to provide a house for you and it's going to be an equitable division and I'm going to make sure that you and the kids are okay. But the second they talk about they want to leave, then it's like, okay, well, you can leave, but I don't have nothing to give you. And besides, we're just going to go into your room and start cutting up your stuff and to figuring out what part of your stuff I'm going to take as part of our marital assets. How is that fair? And that begs the question, because the problem and difficulty many people are going to have with what I'm saying is the idea that what I'm saying isn't fair. And that's the problem with polygamy. It's not fair. When we talk about all that, and since I brought up Robin and I brought up her house, let's listen to what Janelle has to say about the Robin and Cody's acquisition and the mountains that Cody moved in order to acquire Robin's house.
He sits here, he moved heaven and earth to get this house for Robin. They kept all their crap in U-Hauls for months. They lived in it as a short-term rental before they even bought it. I'm sitting here like, wow, I am stuck. She says
she's stuck and she's stagnant. Now, here's the thing. When they talk about Cody moving up to Cody Pass or moving up to that house in Arizona, the big house that he has now, and he did it for Robin because he loved Robin because she treats him like the best customer. She got the best pencil box in town and all that good stuff. That's great. That's wonderful. But here's the secret to the sauce, y'all. Cody didn't buy that house because Robin did the secret hand to him. He bought that house because that's his house. That's his house. All the assets and stuff that he's been acquired from his other wives so that he could support, quote unquote, support Robin are actually his assets. These assets belong to him. That house belongs to him. It's in his name. Him and Robin's. That's their marital assets. That's not Robin's house. That's their house. So when he moved heaven and earth to do that, and by heaven and earth, they mean that on average, those types of homes that are about 5 and 6 bedrooms, if you go on any website right now and you look up how much of these houses to rent, they're anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 a month. They're in the upper end house, so it's about $5,000 a month that they were paying. If they were there for a few months, let's say 3 months, that's $15,000. Not to mention they had 4 U-Haul trucks that were sitting up there on Cody Pass full of Robin stuff that was just sitting there waiting for them to be able to purchase that home. And those trucks had been up there, say, for 3 months. If you go on the U-Haul sites, without the mileage, without the gas, and without the insurance, the special stuff for the insurance and all that, just the rentals of the truck, you're looking at about $5,000 a month. So if they're spending $5,000 for the rental, $5,000 just for the trucks, and nothing else. And this isn't them eating. This isn't anything else. This is just for the rental and for the trucks. They're spending $10,000 a month. Janelle is spending nowhere near $10,000 a month to live in that little ass apartment. She's not even close. I'd be surprised if Janelle is creeping over $1,000. She might be at maybe $1,200 a month for that apartment, if that. I should look it up, but I'm not going to. She probably about $1,200. Let's say $1,600. Let's give her $2,000. She paid $2,000 a month for that apartment, which I doubt. But she's paying $2,000 a month for that apartment. She's still $8,000 less than Cody pretending so he wanted to get into that big house, and the sacrifices they were making. And let's be honest, Cody's not making enough money where he could pay $10,000 a month for a rental and for paying for them trucks. They don't make enough as sister wives to do that. They're taking a whole sister wife check. At least one of the members of the family taking a whole sister wife check, putting it on that on their rentals and stuff for Robin, for one person. So that's insane. And this is the point I'm making, is that there needed to be a redefinition and a redefining of that relationship. Finally, let's listen to what Kody has to say with regard to Janelle's assertion about the house and Robin's house.
The same assets as me. Robin's house isn't an asset. It's a bank's asset. We have to house our children in that house for another 15 years.
Now, what Kody was saying was, we have to house our children there for another 15 years. He later said that same conversation as he said there with Janelle, that I wish the rest of the family would treat Saul and Ari and consider them the same way they considered other kids. Are you freaking kidding me? We're paying $10,000 a month so Saul and Ari can have a place to stay. I wish you treated your other kids the way you treat Saul and Ari. How about that? That's the first thing. The second thing, when you look at it, either Kody is, and this is just my opinion. Either Kody has no idea how real estate works, or he thinks we're stupid. Because for you to sit there and say, I purchased a home, and that's not really my asset, that's the bank's asset, you're an idiot. Because you've taken loans out against that home. Like, as far as I know, I think he's taken equity loans out against the house that he has with Robin on Coyote Pass. Or not on Coyote Pass, in Arizona. The big house. They've taken equity loans out against that house. And that's what you can do when you own a house. As the house increases in value, or let's pretend he didn't take any equity out. Okay? I have no idea how this works. So he didn't take any money out. Okay, fine. You bought the house for $800,000. Let's say you bought the house, no money down. No money down. You've been making payments, but you've just been paying interest. The house now is worth about $1.5 million. So that means that you could have made $700,000 if you just sell the house. You could make $700,000 just by selling the house. And that's with the bank's asset. That's if I'm an idiot and I don't understand how it works. I understand how math works. And I understand that, first of all, nobody is letting you buy that house, no money down. So you put something down on it. So on the first day, you had equity in the house because you had to put something down on it. Secondly, understanding how real estate works. Real estate usually, you have a pretty good return on real estate, especially in hot areas like Arizona, New York, California, Miami, Philadelphia, Massachusetts, on and on and on. Like, I can go through the different states where you can get a pretty good return on your money if you put it down on a home or property, real property. Kody understands that. Kody said that in previous episodes. Part of the reason why Kody is so anxious about keeping a lot of this property to himself and trying to acquire these properties and getting the wives to purchase homes so he could eventually turn them into real rentals is because he understands the power of real estate and the power of money when it comes to real estate. Now, all of a sudden, he wants us to pretend like we don't understand how real estate works. And we don't understand that that house that he moved heaven and earth to get for Robin is, in fact, an asset. What I did all that just to simply prove this. We have an example of somebody who has sacrificed and made sacrifice upon sacrifice, not only for herself, but for her children, for the betterment of this family. She has sat there and she's done everything necessary. And in some cases, I wouldn't even call it, like I said, I wouldn't call her stupid. I think that that's heartbreaking. I think that she did the right thing when it came to the family. It's just that she did it for the wrong person. Now, with all that being said, when you realize that, hey, this isn't working out the way I need it to work out, you need to redefine. You need to have the freedom to redefine your relationship and have that conversation. And if the person you're talking to and dealing with won't allow you to have that redefinition, then you have to assess whether that's the person you really need to be with. Why? Because in life, You're going to change, you're going to grow, and you're going to develop. And as you change, you grow, and you develop. And this is, like I said, whether it's romantic, familial, or even professionally. As you start to change and you start to develop, if your position within those relationships doesn't change and develop along with you in a compatible way, where it complements your changes, your development, and your evolution, then you have to consider whether it's time for you to leave that situation behind. Sometimes you'll find yourself in a position that you outgrow the position that you were once assigned. The challenge in your renegotiation of these types of relationship comes in where the person looks at you and they're comfortable with where you are. They don't want you to change. They don't want you to grow because they're comfortable with it. And in some cases, like Cody, they actually benefit from the relationship. So no, they don't want the relationship to change. They don't want it to have a change. They want it to stay the same forever. Problem is, no relationship stays the same because nobody stays the same. So we have to stay mindful that as our relationships change and they develop, we have to change with them. And if people won't allow us to change those relationships or the parameters of those relationships as we need them to, not to be cavalier, but maybe it's time that we move on from that relationship. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I